Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Chine. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to go about the cutting and sewing of this beautiful gathered dress. This tutorial was requested by a YouTube subscriber, so if you would love to learn how I made this, please keep watching, and if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so. So let's get started. To make this dress, I'm going to be using 2.5 yards of soft crepe material. Please bear in mind that if you're a plus size, you'll be needing about 3 yards. The first thing I did is I folded my paper into two. Then I measured from the shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to half length, shoulder to hip, then shoulder to the full length. Okay, I'm going to use my ruler to draw straight lines. Then I'll go ahead and label this so that it won't be confusing. I'm going to label the half length, the under bust, the waist, just the way it is here. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do now is to start imputing my measurements. I'll be starting with the shoulder. My shoulder measurement is 14 inches. If I divide it by 2, I'll have 7 inches. Then I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll use my ruler to draw a slant line. Then I'll go ahead and get the neck width and the neck depth. For the neck width, I'm using 3 inches, and for the depth, I'm using 3.5. Then to get my chest line, you divide the bust measurement by 6 inches, then add 1 inch. So I got 7 inches. I'm going to use my ruler to get a straight line. For the armhole, I'll divide the line by 2, then come in by 0.5. Then I'll use my ruler to connect the armhole. Okay, now after this, I'm going to start imputing my measurement. I'll start with the bust, then I'll divide my bust measurement by 4. I'm not going to be adding allowance right now until I'm transferring to the material. Then I'll get my waist. My waist measurement is 29. I'm going to divide it by 4, and I'll also get the hip. Okay, I'm going to use my ruler to connect this. On the full length, I'll also put my hip measurement. After getting all the measurements, I'm going to cut out the front. I'm done cutting out the front, so the next thing I'm going to do is to open up this pattern. Then I'll extend the lines. I'll extend the hip line, the half length line, the under bust line. I'll just extend all the lines. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the under bust. Like, I'm going to cut it out. If you check the picture, there is a cutout from the under bust, so I'm just going to cut out the under bust. Then I'll keep it one side. Okay, I'll go ahead and open up the pattern. Now from the half length, I'm going to measure 5 inches on one side of the pattern. Then on the other side, I'm going to measure about 9 inches. Okay, I'll use my ruler to get a slant line. Then I'll cut it out. Okay, now this is for the front. I'm going to use this front to cut out the back. I don't need to start drafting out the back from the beginning. This dress has 2 joining, one on the under bust and the other one to form the full length of the dress. So I don't need the down part of the dress. I'm going to keep it one side. So I'm going to use this particular pattern to cut out the back. Okay, the joining is also on the back. I'm going to use this front pattern to cut out the back. The first thing I'm going to do is to measure out 1 inch for my zip allowance. You can use 1 inch or 1.5. So I'll measure it out. Then I'll put the pattern exactly on this 1 inch line. I'm going to put my pattern exactly there. Then I'll use pins to hold it down. Okay, I'll use pin to hold it down. I'm going to use my scissors to cut out the back exactly the same way I cut the front. Once I get to the down part, I'm going to cut it straight. I'll also cut it slant, but I'll cut it straight for now. Then I'll open it up and cut it slant. Okay, to avoid the zip from budging, on the waistline, I'm going to come in by 0.5 so that my zip will not budge. Then I'll use my ruler to connect. Please do it exactly the way I'm doing it here. After connecting it, I'm going to open up this back so that I can get the slant line that I have in front. When you open the back, you have to make sure the wrong side of the front is facing the wrong side of the back before you cut the slant line. I'm going to go ahead and open up the back, so I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. This is the front part of my pattern and the other side is the back. So I'll make sure the wrong side of the front is facing the wrong side of the back. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and cut out the slant for the back. The first thing I did is to overlap the zip. Then I went ahead to pin up the front and the back before cutting the slant. Okay, so this is what the back looks like after cutting. The next thing I'm going to do is to redraft the upper part of this dress. It has a gathered sleeve, so I'm going to redraft it. I'm not going to use the one I cut out from my pattern. The width of the gathers will be 25 inches. If you want yours to be more fuller, you can go ahead and use 30 inches. And for the length, I'm going to be using my shoulder to under bust measurement, which is 13 inches. After getting the length and the width, I'm going to cut it out. On the side, I'm going to come down by 1 inch just for the shoulder slant. I'm going to connect it to the neck. For the neck width, I'll be using 3 inches, and for the depth, I'm going to be using the whole 13 inches. Then I'll just use my ruler to connect a slant line to the under bust. I'm going to use this for the front and the back as well. So I'll go ahead and cut out the neck. Then I'll cut out the slant for the shoulder, and I'm done with this. I'm done cutting it out. I'm going to be needing 4 of these, 2 for the front and the other 2 for the back. So I'll go ahead and transfer this pattern to the fabric. Okay, I'm done cutting. I'm going to go ahead and transfer to the fabric. Now for the other part of the dress, the down part of the dress, I'm just going to cut it directly on the fabric. It's time for me to transfer this pattern to my fabric. I'm going to start with the upper side, that's the gathers part of this dress. Okay, I'll add 1/2 inch on all sides for this part. I'll add 1/2 inch on all sides, then I'll go ahead and cut it out. For the skirt part of the dress, I'm going to add 2 inches on the sides, then 1/2 inch on the upper side and on the slant side. You can use your chalk to measure out the allowance before cutting out. I'll just go ahead and do exactly the same thing for the back. For the back, I'm not going to add zip allowance because I've already added it on the pattern. So I'll just go ahead and cut the back exactly the same way I cut the front, like there is no difference. For the down part of the dress, I'm going to be using 11 inches. I'm cutting 3 pieces so that the gathers will be full. I'm done transferring the pattern to fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to start joining this dress. Now for the skirt part, I had to cut 2 pieces. The second part is going to be the lining. So I cut 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to notch where my gathers will stop. That's on the waist measurement. To start sewing the dress, I'm going to work on the upper side first. I'm going to hem the neck part and the sleeve part. Then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I'm done hemming the sleeve part and the neck here. I have 4 pieces. I'm done with everything. The next thing I'm going to do is to join the upper side to the skirt. I had to notch the center of the skirt and the side of the skirt. The center is where one side of the gathers will start and the side is where the gathers will stop. Okay, please take note. So I'll go ahead and join this in my sewing machine, then I'll show you guys what it looks like. For this front part, if you don't want your boobs to show, you can overlap it on the center before you start sewing. Okay, you can actually overlap it on the center so that your boobs will be covered. I'm done joining here and this is what it looks like. You need to pleat the gathers as tiny as possible. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the lining of the skirt. Remember, for the skirt I had to cut 2, one for the bodice and the other one for the lining. So I'm going to use the lining to cover the rough edges of the pleated part. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do that on my sewing machine, then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like. So I'm done doing that here and this is how it looks. The back is covered right now. Okay, so when I'm done, I'll go ahead and iron it, then I'll weave it as well. Okay, for the back of this dress, I'm just going to do the same thing I did in front. I have 4 pieces. I'm going to join my zip first, then I'll join the gathers. Okay, and I'll use the lining to turn it just the same way I did in front. I'm done doing that here, and this is what it looks like. So the front and the back is ready at this point. The next thing I'm going to do is to join the shoulder of the front and the back. This is the front and the back. I'm going to join the shoulder. Now, joining the shoulder, I'm going to join by 1 inch or 1.5 instead of the 1/2 inch allowance for the shoulder. Okay, now the reason is because I want the bust part to be very firm. I don't want it falling off the shoulder, so I'll go ahead and join the shoulder, then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like. So I'm done joining it here. I'm going to add elastic to this. I've not added elastic, but I'm done joining the shoulder. So I measured elastic of 10 inches. Now you can use 8 or 9 inches, depends on how full you want this. I'll go ahead and bend the sewing allowance on the shoulder, then I'll sew the elastic on top. If you don't want your elastic to show, you can go ahead and create a channel for this on the shoulder. So I'll go to my sewing machine and sew this, then I'll show you guys what it looks like. I'm done sewing the elastic, and this is what it looks like. It's already looking gorgeous. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the sides. Okay, I'm going to join the sides, then I'll join the last part of this dress. I'm done joining the sides here. The last thing I'm going to do now is to join the gathers at the hip part. Okay, that's the last thing I'm going to do. So I'll go ahead and sew it, then I'll show you guys the finished result. I'm done sewing the dress here, and this is what I have. This dress is simply gorgeous. I made mine short. You can decide to make yours longer if you want. Please let me know if you try out this tutorial. Send me pictures on Instagram at Ananotch Creation. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Turn on your notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you'll be notified. If you have any question about this tutorial, ask me in the comment section. I'll definitely reply you. Thank you so much for watching my video. So I'll show you guys the finished result.